Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. As you can tell, the webcam is on today. Haven't been using it for the past several months, but I will begin to use it probably again. So yeah, in today's video we'll be talking about just the weather, obviously, the long range. We'll see what's coming, especially next week in terms of precipitation. This week into the weekend, hot, some areas of precipitation, but really just a summer-like pattern. So that's good. You know, it's summertime, so at least it's not a winter pattern. If you guys enjoy this channel, if you're new, hello and welcome. Check out the channel first, obviously, but if you're a returning viewer, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. Consider liking the video, it helps out a ton. And otherwise, let's start talking about the weather. Okay, so I want to start off by looking at the interactive radar of the United States. So this is just, as you can see, the United States, and I will try including all of it, or at least the lower 48, where majority of my viewers are from, if not most, including southern Canada. Notice what we have, obviously, heavy rain across the south into Houston, into Texas. They have been getting a ton of rain, which is a good thing. They were in a drought, except now it's just a little bit too much at this point. Notice there's a whole kind of several stretched out cold fronts and a few warm fronts. They're just, you know, plowing moisture and storms across the east coast and eastern kind of third of the country. Notice into Indiana, Ohio, right? This is a bit glitchy. It's not as clear as I would like it to be, but notice across Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. Look at all these showers and storms moving in a northeast direction. I do want to point out there are some showers and storms across Ontario. Those are moving to the south, and yes, even that far to the north, there are thunderstorms at this time of the year. It is June. That's nothing unheard of, and you can see some of those are pretty big. I do want to say that there is also a bit of activity going on across Wisconsin into Michigan. Some storms, again, none of them really seem to be severe. If they are a bit more powerful, maybe some wind, definitely a heavy rain threat with some of these. They could definitely add on quite a show of rain, and the same goes with these. There are a few severe warned storms if you're to look at the weather map, and let's actually refresh this, as this is a bit out of date. I haven't refreshed it in a while. Notice we have a severe thunderstorm watch with a few flood advisories, flash flood warnings, and a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Okay, well, there you go. We have an error. Let's see if we could use this. Notice, yeah, there's several of these. Damaging wind seems to be the biggest threat. Some hail probably as well. None of them really seem tornadic. Obviously, that would dictate, or that would demand a tornado warning. And definitely can see heavy rain across Texas, as a lot of these areas have flood advisories, flash flood warnings, river flood advisories, just all sorts of those things. And then notice, very hot. These are excessive heat watches, warnings, heat advisories, all of those things. And we do have some red flag warnings, which are because of the heat and extremely dry conditions, which brings us to another topic I want to briefly touch on today. It's Thursday, and every Thursday of a new week, or the end of the week, which however you want to put it, the Drought Monitor issues its update on the US. And this is what it looks like right now. It's definitely a pretty colorful map, and that's not really a good thing. There are pockets of this across Utah, Nevada, into Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. That deep red, that's exceptional drought. That is extremely a crippling, you know, that's just a extreme lack of rain. They've been in this for quite a while. It was already there kind of in the fall. It got worse through winter, and it did get better across areas like Texas and into portions of New Mexico, especially Colorado, the eastern half. But, I mean, you can see it's completely wiped out there. They've seen a ton of rain, which is good. But anywhere else, it's been definitely kind of just going back and forth between really bad to just slightly a bit better, still being pretty bad. Notice the North Dakota area has been just, the high plains have been just slammed with the drought. It is a bit better towards Nebraska and Kansas. And a concerning area is the Great Lakes. You know, I'm in that little severe drought area. And this isn't really it's not that bad yet, right? There's still water, and there's obviously the Great Lakes, which have a ton of water. So it's not really a water shortage problem. It's just that this is kind of the breadbasket of the United States. And right now, it's definitely not bad, the drought. You can see it only covers a bit of northern Illinois into Iowa, Michigan. But it does look to be expanding. We are expecting heat across much of the United States. We just came from a cool pattern, and not really no significant rains are expected. And then notice it did get quite a bit worse across the southeast, except as you saw on the radar today, they are getting a bit of relief. But unfortunately, it's just not looking too good. The Climate Prediction Center, which issues these kind of outlooks into the next 1 to 2 weeks, right, temperatures 6 to 10 days out. Look at this. They are favoring heavily. This is from June 9th through 12th, so not including the days, which is today, 3rd through the 9th. It's just kind of a bit further out. But look at that. Heat. And they're favoring it quite confidently. Maybe a bit cooler towards the waterlogged areas across the Texas area and the West Coast, where they did see a lot of heat this past week. So that is definitely good. Notice a bit of that above average precip. Again, precip is hard to predict. I wouldn't say this is really something that should be going off of. I feel like if I were to make this my map, I would say shift this green a bit further towards the north and west. But again, it will be hit or miss, these precipitation makers, as you can see on the radar today. Right, they're expecting rain in the eastern areas here, but I mean, look at that. There's a thunderstorm right there. And the Greensboro gets missed by that. It goes to the north. So yes, they get rain here, but there's many areas that don't. So it's just kind of a hit or miss. Obviously, if you get a cluster that's larger like this, you get in on more of that rain. But, I mean, look at Charlotte, right? A lot of it passed to the south. Now a lot of it's passing to the north, these showers and storms, and it's going to be extremely frustrating because there could be rain all around you, but nothing really in your area. Same thing up to the north. There's just these little showers, and they're not really that high in coverage. So the drought is definitely going to get worse probably across the United States as we are now entering the hot season. The pattern looks dry-ish, and even though the Climate Prediction Center for the 1 month outlook shows precip being above average for the south and the east, it's really more below across the areas where they kind of need it. Like this, Texas, Louisiana, they are flooded pretty much, and they are expected to see above average rain. They don't need that. The heat is expected to continue across the north, the Midwest, the Great Lakes. They don't need that either. The 3 to 4 week outlook temperature, you could see the precipitation. It's iffy, and again, I wouldn't say these forecasts are as whether or not this will happen, probably, but there's been many instances where the 3 to 4 week outlooks are wrong. It's better than taking a guess, for sure, just a random guess. It's an educated guess, though. It's not a solid forecast prediction of what's to come. It's not a fortune teller, unfortunately. These things are very hard to predict, and that's why I'm a bit concerned, because look at that. I mean, if you're to look at the precipitation for the 8 to 14 day outlook, you outline a lot of this heat with a lot of this below average precip. The drought across the northern United States could get worse, right? That's a breadbasket of the United States. That could be pretty bad. And if you're to look at some of the worst droughts in the United States history, well, just the ones in the recent years, 2012, 2004, a lot of those years started out wetter than what we have this year, and still, turned really bad. And right now, we are already at such a bad position that if it were to get dry, or, stay dry and just go on as a normal summer, be hot, it could go from bad to very bad pretty quickly. Hopefully it doesn't, though. Okay. Let's focus on what what we could see in terms of precipitation. That's what you guys came here for. And notice, I do want to say that I spent a lot talking about this drought, but it's important. That's the drought right now is covering a near record amount of the United States in some form. So notice today, right? This is your kind of your data, or your timestamp, June 3rd, today at 1. This is now at 7. Notice that there are some storms across Wisconsin, into Michigan, across the East Coast where we saw them, across Texas, Louisiana, where they don't really need it anymore. We do see some popping up across the West where they do need it. But look at this, Friday, right? And I do want to say that all of these days will be super hot for most of the United States, as you saw in the graphics. So Saturday, not much, maybe the South. Saturday night across the northern plains, maybe a bit of precip. This is now Sunday. You could see a bit of these showers now returning across the south central U.S., plowing a bit further to the north with each day. But again, they're scattered at best in coverage. It's not an area-wide precip maker. Look at that. Some storms erupting late Sunday morning, night into Colorado area and New Mexico. Then we do see some showers across the northwest. We see a cold front drag through the northern U.S. across Monday. We're really late Sunday into early Monday. And then notice that those kind of daytime heated showers are, again, kind of increasing in coverage. This is now Monday, again, very, very hot conditions going on, especially across the eastern U.S. You do see some more activity, more showers across the plains, northern plains into Monday night. Notice this is Tuesday during the day. We do see some impressive shower coverage potentially across the Ohio Valley, potentially extreme, southern Midwest and eastern Midwest, the South and the Mid-Atlantic area. Look at that, some large clusters developing into Wednesday and Tuesday night into Wednesday across the northern plains, across areas where they need that rain. This is now into Thursday. Again, scattered showers. You can see this system moves into southern Canada. We see a lot of random coverage across the southern kind of third of the United States, extending from Wyoming all the way into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. And yeah, no organized, precip makers other than the one right here across the northern plains. But that's what it kind of indicates that it's a summer pattern. During the winter, we don't, often see where it's just scattered areas of precip. It's all usually a consolidated area of either snow, heavy rain, severe weather. But it's not just so random and pop-like, and in this case it will be. And then notice right there across New Mexico, Texas, some more rain into now this is pretty far out, Saturday, June 12th. And again, this is where the Climate Prediction Center thinks it will be very warm. So, where you're not seeing rain, this is just going to make things very bad. But look at that, a bit of showers and storms across New Mexico, Colorado. So, the New Mexico area, Colorado, eastern, western Texas, they've pretty much got out of the drought, which is good. But the west, further west, it's not good. The Midwest also not seeing much. Look at what this model shows. It shows some sort of tropical storm riding up the northeast coast or just the east coast, very far out, but it's showing that hurricane season is definitely here. I think it started June 1st, yeah, so whether or not this will happen, probably not, but it's definitely a sign of potential. And then notice again, not much organized precip, maybe further towards the northwest. And look at that, finally some large system, but that's so far out that most likely won't hold. In terms of total accumulated precipitation, if you were to take a look at it, notice, right, it's pretty kind of just drawn out, kind of just fuzzed out, really no areas of significant precip. Obviously, if you get under a thunderstorm or 2 or 3, you'll quickly probably pick up several inches, but the models like the GFS can't forecast that, but it's showing an area-wide kind of potential, so at least it's not concentrated just towards one area like more of the Canadian does, which you can see concentrates it really heavily here and anywhere else. Some chances of rain, really, they're pretty small though, especially across the west. So this is definitely not something we would like what the Canadian is showing. NAM 12KM, the short range models, again, focusing it across the south and east. Nothing really across the northern plains, and maybe a bit towards North Dakota, which is, again, where they would like some rain, so that's definitely good. Another high range model you could see shows some precipitation across the Great Lakes, right here into the northeast and the south, and you can almost see where this precip is absent, and that's kind of where the ridge of very warm temperatures will be residing. If you were to take a look at the GFS model and see what it shows in terms of 2-meter temperature anomalies, this is the new model that's coming in, the new model run. Let's just take the one that's older. Look at that, the northern plains today and into the next couple of days, just a heat wave. And notice it is cooler across the south where there's cloud cover and the soil is much harder to warm as it's moisture logged. But further to the north, portions of North Dakota look like a desert. I was just seeing images from Twitter where a farmer was showing his fields, and it was pretty much where the snow was laying, which they didn't see much of, was just a bit of green. Anywhere else, it was dry. And for a lot of farmers, this initial dry spell where it's not bad enough is good, because at least planting can be done decently. It's not, the soil isn't moisture logged, but it's, if this continues, it could quickly become a concern, and if it doesn't, then, it could be even a bumper crop potentially still. So it's not too late for that if the rains do come. A lot of farmers did plant a good, into good soils, so that's definitely good. But, if you're across North Dakota, it's just too dry. It's just no way around it. Notice, definitely warmth favoring the eastern United States, excluding the south. Look at portions of the west also cooling off. But notice, this heat is stubborn, and it extends very far to the north. Look at that, the Great Lakes kind of straddling the area where the biggest drought conditions are. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's good. A lot of these days are going to be beautiful, sunny, warm, but it's what's going on kind of in terms of the ecosystem and the hydrology kind of situation, it's not that beautiful, right? So notice further on, maybe a bit of cool weather across the east, but look at what happens here. Another ridge builds, and this spreads to the east. Look at that. Look at some of those temperatures. The northwest right now kind of got out of the drought a bit in some areas because of the relatively wet winter in some areas. Look at that. That's quickly gonna, put a toll on the areas that are seeing decently moisture-filled soil. That's super, super strong anomalies. Notice it does cool off, according to the GFS model, across further to the sorry about that, further to the east. But if you were to take a look at the temperatures, obviously they're still pretty warm, and I think this is honestly underdone. But look at that, 90s across Oregon, Seattle, Idaho. 100, yeah, that's dangerous, and that's that would quickly cause concern. So yeah, definitely a warm pattern, I would say, more than cool. If you were to take a look at kind of the average out models, so it's not just one model that we're looking at, so it doesn't provide like a skewed perspective. They're all pretty much saying the same stuff. Notice, right, the heat starting up towards the west, shifting towards the east. Kind of really, especially towards the northern United States, the southern U.S., a bit cooler. Notice the west is a bit cooler, but it does start warming up. And look, towards the long range, maybe a bit of cool weather towards the south. But again, probably more leaning towards the warmth. And look at that, the west just becomes super hot, super warm. So yeah, that's not good by any means. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you today. I went over the drought monitor again, or the drought outlook. Pretty bad, not too good for now. Climate Prediction Center, again, I went over the outlooks. You can see they're favoring warmth, and even in the longer range one, they're favoring warmth. Precipitation wise, drier as you look long range, maybe a bit more active towards the south and east in the shorter range, but generally the south, the extreme deep south, will be wet. 3 to 4 week outlook, temperature warm, maybe a bit cool towards the south, but again, these outlooks aren't perfect, and usually don't really hold too much accuracy to the actual truth, kind of what happens, unfortunately, as much as they would like to say how accurate they are. 1 month outlook, very warm across the northern United States, right, and again, maybe cooler towards the south across June. Precip wise, hopefully a bit wetter, but again, areas where they don't need it will be wet. And this is the seasonal drought outlook. Notice it persists across kind of the Midwest. They expect it to develop, which again won't have any trouble developing if it, anomalies are this high as shown here. And yeah, just stay safe, guys. Again, be careful with your fires. Don't let them be unmaintained, as it could quickly start a forest fire, especially in such hot conditions. And again, this year it's not just across the west; it's across the plains, across the Midwest, maybe even across portions of the Southeast, as you saw, are getting in portions of into the drought. But again, today, look at that. That's pretty satisfying to watch, as a lot of these areas are needing some precipitation and are getting some rain. Yeah, that's definitely good news for those locations. But again, it won't be enough to kind of bust it. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.